got, it's the American expression, isn't it? If life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Is finding a way around the gift that you've been given. It's the learning that you get from the experience. And a lot of people come to religion, don't they, through some disaster, and then they find God or their spirituality.
In terms of spirituality, exactly. Or religion or whatever.
Yeah. So you were talking to me earlier about your spiritual development. If you've been a doing person all the time and now you're a being person,
well, I'm working towards being a being person.
We're all working towards. We're all on that journey, aren't we? What's your spiritual life like now? What is your search about?
For me, to start with, it was about finding my purpose.
Yeah,
having that sense of there is more to being here than just
existence,
dawdling about.
Yeah.
So what is my purpose? And I think that's a big part of my spirituality. I believe that we're all connected.
Mm-hmm.
That if by being kind to somebody, it's if the butterfly flaps its wings in South America, it causes a typhoon. And although that's a very graphic way, I think one of the things that overwhelms so many people is they look at and listen to the news and think, what can I do? Yeah. But I believe that each of us, in every action that we take or lack thereof, every word that we speak, we have the capacity to be positive, neutral, or neutral, negative. And I would like to think that I am consciously looking for the opportunity to make a positive difference in whatever I do.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean I'm goody two-shoes, because there are times when I get it very badly wrong. But that's what I work towards. I also believe that it's hard to explain, really. I believe that when we're small children, we're very connected to source, whatever you decide source might be. And for some, that would be the universe. For others, that would be God. For some, that would be Jesus or Allah, whoever.
Yeah.
I think when you look at the joy that little kids have, they're stepping in a puddle, or they've got a leaf and they're looking at it as if it's the most amazing jewel.
Yeah, which it is.
I think for whatever reason, we lose that. Yeah. And for me, my spirituality is about trying to capture that. And even in the most mundane things, finding there is something of awe and wonder in it. And I'm reminded of a story that I was on a course with Anthony Robbins. I've done a lot of his courses. People may not be familiar with him, but he's probably the most well-known motivational speaker and trainer in the world.
Yeah.
If you want to be coached by him, it's £1 million a year.
Is it really? I didn't know that. Oh, well, I'll start saving my pennies.
But I went very cynically. I'd done my NLP training and NLP coaching with one organisation, and I wanted to go and try it out and see as many people as possible. And I went thinking, this great big American, he's 6'7" and a bit. It's all going to be hype. Right. And what I recognised when I went, actually, there was a huge amount of substance to what he was saying. And he told the story that he went off to an ashram in India, and he went for 3 weeks, and the deal was that you worked for 6 hours a day, and then you got your board and keep and your spiritual teaching free. And so on day one, he was put in this tiny hut where he had to be, bending down, washing up, and they deal with about 1 million people in a week. So lots of washing up. They're all fed. And he banged about, and he was cross and very hot and miserable. And he took himself off to his bed, which was probably about 2 foot too short, with his legs hanging. And he said, I've got a choice to make here. I've got 3 weeks here. I can be miserable and be fed up about the fact that, who am I? How dare they make me wash up? And it's uncomfortable and it's hot. And he made the decision that I'm going to be the best washer-upper they've ever had, and I'm going to make the day for everybody as good as I can. And off he toddled the next day, and he got them singing and laughing and doing the washing up. And he said it was a brilliant 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I chose to see and to approach that in a different way. And for me, that whatever you're doing, be the best that you can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And even if it's the washing up, you've got hot water, you've got washing up liquid. Somebody in the middle of the Saharan desert would give their eye teeth for that.
Of course.
And yet on the happiness stakes, people who are in these small communities generally do better than we do in the Western world.
Oh, every time.
And I'm struck by, the Blue Planet program. We think we can't affect a change. And yet when people saw those whales and those dolphins being maimed and killed by plastic, there's little groups who've started all over the place doing their little bit to make a difference.
Yeah.
And enough people do their little bit to make a difference, it becomes a big difference.
Absolutely. I think that's part of today's culture, is we're led to believe that we're impotent and we can't make a difference, and that the world is ruled by a few people that have got all the money and all the answers, and everything's predicated on them and making their life better and their life richer, which is why the divide between those that have and those that haven't is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. When Erkan and I first started this, there was an Oxfam stat that went out to say that there was, if you put a busload of the richest, if you filled a bus with the richest people in the world, they would have more wealth than over half the population. And then the following year it went down to 64 people, and then it went down, and now I think it's like three or four together have more combined wealth than 3.65 billion people. And it's like, on what planet is that okay? And I'm always reminded of the Ricardo Semler quote. Have you seen him on a TED Talk?
Yes.
Just the man is amazing. And I love his idea around business and how he runs his businesses and the schools that he's trying to set up. But one of the quotes he said on the TED Talk was, when people say to me, I've earned all this wonderful wealth and it's time for me to give back, I say to them, you took too much in the first place. And it's like, so we should all be, everyone from the top down to the bottom. And it's a biblical story as well, isn't it? The old lady that gave tuppence, and the rich man that gave 2 sacks of coins, and he derided her for only giving tuppence. And Jesus said she's given more wealth than you will ever have in your lifetime, because that's all she had, and she'd given it over. So I think you're right. I think knowing that humanity is joined and are responsible for each other. And it's like we say in BeCollaboration, love, connection and abundance. If we were to work on that as our culture, knowing that love connects us all, there is abundance in the world. There's plenty of everything to go around. We just need to share it. We have a distribution problem. And connection. If you hurt someone sitting next to you, that reverberates around the world. If somebody somewhere is getting hurt, it should be affecting all of us. So we should be working towards peace, and we should be working towards not getting upset when someone cuts you up in a car. Spreading all of that kind of negative energy, as you were saying, it's not going to help anybody. So it's paying forward the positive at every opportunity.
Have you heard of subtle activism?
Of what?
Subtle activism.
No. Oh, I like the sound of that though. That's good. Subtle. I need to write that down.
Taggart. She set up an experiment where she asked people to meditate with a very, very specific focus over a 24-hour period. So nobody did more than a couple of hours. Right. Most people did much less. But over the 24 hours, there were thousands of people involved. And the focus was Chicago and gangs.
Ah, right.
Now, they said nothing, but when the statistics came out, the police said, we can't understand it. There's been less violence, less murders, less gang incidents on this day. Why? We don't know. And it was the day when everybody was focusing and sending messages energetically in terms of wanting peace and wanting things to be better. And the other thing that strikes me is they've done experiments with water, where if you look at water, if it's in a situation which is neither negative or positive, the crystals are in a certain way. Yeah. What goes into an environment where people are shouting and arguing and being nasty, then the actual molecules, the crystals within the water, the formulation of that changes and becomes jagged and uneven. Put them into a place of harmony, and every crystallized shape is perfectly aligned and symmetrical.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it?
20+% water.
Yeah, Yes, exactly. They did a similar experiment with plants, didn't they? Where they put them into 2 glass containers, and one plant was abused for like 7 days, and the other plant was like just verbally, and the other plant was verbally loved, and the one that was abused just shriveled up, and the one that was loved just grew. And it's like, to imagine a child being in an environment where the parents are arguing all the time, or just the whole energy is in this kind of, they're not getting on, and there's that kind of angst and the upset that's around. Have you come across Richard Hawkins? Is it Hawkins or Dawkins? Hawkins. I always get muddled up. And he talks about emotions and being at a certain level, whereby sort of the lowest vibration is grief and bereavement, and I can't remember what the other one was. There's another one that's really a low vibration, and obviously a high vibration is like infinite joy, and how people think they've got to go from depressed up to happiness straight away, and actually it's a lot of steps that you just keep going through. So it's look around you and see what's just going to get you to the next step. So you might be in grief at the moment, and you think, well, actually, and we all know you go through stages of bereavement, don't you? So it's from grief you kind of go, well, rather than being grieving about something, I'll get angry. But that's a vibration up towards getting into a better state. There is a tipping point whereby the emotions of a nation can tip into happiness more so. And Andrew Horder was looking into this, and he worked out that if the culture of BeCollaboration were to grow to numbers of something like 834,
it's not very big, is it?
No. And just that blew my mind. It was like, we could do that. That is so doable. If our culture of love, connection and abundance can be multiplied to 834 people in the UK, then we've got exponential growth, because it goes huge, and all of a sudden you've got a whole different way of looking at life. And then if we could then impart that onto other nations and spread the word. And then my dream is to put a BeCollaboration group into every school. Wouldn't that be cool? Where you could empower those kids to think for themselves, to be able to challenge each other without getting upset, to be able to ask questions without thinking they're going to be ridiculed, to start projects together and follow and work out what their purpose is and work out what their dream is.
I think it was very powerful.
It would be amazing, wouldn't it? So, anyway, it's on my list.
Let's re-language it. It won't be. It will be.
Yes. Well, when I say it's my dream, for me personally, if I can visualize something, it will happen. It isn't. Most of the things I visualized in my life have come true, and it's not because, aren't I lucky? It's because I've worked damn hard and I make it happen. So I can visualize this already. And we've got over in Surrey, Dave Caldwell's already working with schools, and he's going in and doing different workshops and things. So in my mind, I haven't told you this yet, Dave, but you're a hop, skip and a jump away to have the first school BeCollaboration meeting. Because if every BeCollaboration group in a town, you only need 6 people to be on a rota, and then once a month they go and host the kids group or the young persons group. And it wouldn't take long. It's a privilege to be able to go into a school and support them. And that's one of when I started as a coach, that's one of the first things I did, as I went into a sixth form school and helped kids. And I did a stress busting club. And it was great. They loved it, absolutely loved it. But it was just so heartbreaking for me, because they were 16 to 18-year-olds, they were so stressed with their exams. I'm like, so why are you doing the exam? They're like, what do you mean? So why have you chosen this exam? Oh, my mum told me to. Oh, my dad thinks it's a good idea for a job. Do you enjoy it? Not really. Do you want to go to uni? Not really. Or, well, if I go to uni, I'd really rather do drama, but nobody wants me to do that, so I've got to go and do accounts. Like, it's just so sad. And no wonder they're stressed, because they're doing something they don't love. They don't enjoy. Anyway, I digress slightly. So I like the idea of your spiritual development / vision. You're finding your purpose, isn't it? Once you know what your destiny is and why you're here on the planet, all of a sudden you can roll your sleeves up.
It fits into place, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's like that missing piece of the jigsaw. And I don't believe, we had a podcast with Andrew Horder the other day, and he was saying that he doesn't believe if you do what you love, the business will come alongside. He said you've got to be cleverer than that. It isn't just go off and do what you love and by accident the business comes. You've still got to create it, and you've still got to market it and do all the other things. But if you can make that your living, then
well, it's not
Best
then
job
working,
ever.
it's playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So tell us about your book that you've just written.